It's Dave! Oh, Christ, it's noisy in here, Jesus. Right, hang on. Let me just get out some thanks, darling. Yeah, I'll take that one with me. Cheers. Right, that's better. Let's get set up and get on with it, so I can get back to my guests. First of all, let's get the power on. You need to get at least the bottom 4 plugs on. Right, let's load up the adverts. You might want to have a bit of a think about it. Your decisions have consequences, don't they? You can see they finally got the old headline system up and working again, and the vision mixer's already in headline mode because headlines always come at the start. It's really simple, mate. These 2 buttons at the bottom of the vision mixer, you can see they now have A and B on them, and they're to help you pick image A on the left bottom screen here, or image B on the right bottom screen here. It's really simple. This little clock here will count down the number of seconds you have to make your decision. Provided you make a decision in that time, you're fine. And you can change your mind as much as you want until the clock reaches 0. But if you don't make any decision, you'll be fired before you even get to make another choice. I just want to say one more thing, mate. The pictures you choose to show of these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So like with the adverts, choose carefully.
No,
and we're off.
Kid,
good luck, mate. If I get time, I'll call you back in the next break. Yeah, I'm coming, darling.
One of those. My friend Janet says theirs gets really hot.
Is this Janet who thinks dogs have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon. 10 seconds, everybody.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with a leading economist and radical freethinker. With the Assets and Wealth Act on the brink of raising living standards for the vast majority of the country, I'll be asking my guests if we're on the way to a new future. Out with the old, Remington's fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university and graduated with the highest honours, immediately being asked back to lecture. The markets have responded favourably to Sophia's appointment, with stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehearts. Sophia promises it will be all the rage this Christmas, but concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborg-Horgensford have today set off to explore Dante's taint. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flower technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains. This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely pairing. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together like we always have." Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very programme. Johnny is seen here with socialite and performance artiste Tiffany Lamore, whose recent show, Snatched Inside My Snatch, has kept her firmly in the public eye. Could romance be on the cards for these two budding A-listers? And grievous bodily charm. With Advance promising a radical new position on crime, how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more powers passing to the police and less oversight, are we using an Advance-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that and mega morph with a group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News. In the wake of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up. Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised, but what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan?
It's all in my book. Alan James is Right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd, ignorant, sterile and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting? Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't
And
what
this will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camps for hypno-brainwashing, who will be laughing then?
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
Bollocks! What What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people. Maybe they've rebranded, but it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
But based on the facts, Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research and the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, Frankenscience and opiates. Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals. They're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
No, of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News.
1 minute back.
You know, I think they might do some good.
All right, mate. Christ, I'm absolutely fucking fine, I tell you. How's it going, actually? Fuck it, I don't care. I hate the fucking news. Oh, bloody hell, I love this tune, though. All right, mate. See you later. Bye.
Well, I don't know what she meant by that.
Never been so rewarding. With the Go-Getters, you can be sure that your children...
I'm just saying I'll do what I can, that's all.
Bullshit, you will. She's good. You know she is.
I've said I put a word in, that's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody. Is little JD scared of the big bad culture with butter?
If that sticks,
Bring
I'll
in
destroy
5,
you.
4, 3.
Welcome back. In our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads on our desks.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem.
Greg?
We need more support from ministers. We need change at a structural level,
I'm
Jeremy.
leaving.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? I'll be at my mother's.
Just hang on. The problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. Well, the affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Hello, Mrs. Judge.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry
servants.
to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving him?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us. Next, I'm joined by Police Chief Constable Bob Peel, a man with a very different perspective on our nation's crime. Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I am sure we all long for a return to the days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife. Or kosh.
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not a simple question, Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we probably shouldn't have banned hanging.
And to what do you attribute this moral decay?
Foreigners, gays and gypsies mainly. It's all in the Bible. Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, bugger, hang on a moment. Could you give me a little help, please, dear? As I was saying, Jesus didn't like immigrants much.
And just to be clear, you think it's the immigrants who are responsible for the moral
Yes.
decay?
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box, Clive. Back in your box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
Oh, sorry, darling. I was spaying the badgers.
Yes, I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson. Clive, could you put him back in his box?
Oh, Clive, you know it's Wednesday. Oh, good. Back in your gimp space.
And whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Well, it is certainly not the responsibility of the decent, good, white people
Darling,
of this...
where's the padlock?
Oh, hold on just a moment.
Oh, Clive, this simply won't do. Naughty boy. Mummy said
Clive, I am not having this again.
Mummy said get back in your gimp space. No! Naughty, you beast!
As I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay. Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians, do we? Look, when our daughter Alice comes home with an A-, does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3 of her pills and hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Thank you, Bob. Bob Peel there, really locking down the police's position on morality for us. And finally tonight, hopefully uninterrupted, it's time to get to the heart of the matter. Tony Dawson has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault, burglary and menacing a swan. He's agreed to talk to us today, which is also, I believe, his birthday. He returns, Tony.
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. Can you tell us what it's like in prison, Tony?
Titwank Tony. Hey! Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalisation, as you can imagine. And obviously, titwanks are quite hard to come by.
I'm picking up that you're not alone there, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Hey! Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party. Good bunch of lads.
Okay, well, we'll try and let you get back to that party as soon as possible. First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison helped to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Titwank Tony. Hey! I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez. Yeah, I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's try and soldier on. Since leaving custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. There's Big Chris,
Oi, oi.
Little Chris,
Oi,
and Vampire Chris.
This one's, yeah?
One sec, love. Titwank Tony's on the news. Rehabilitation's difficult with the current system, Jez. It's just not set up for it, you know? It's inherently unjust.
It's open.
So, do you feel tempted to... I'm sorry, who's this now?
You are joking. Chrissy Freebollocks has only got Mr. Fancy, oh.
Titwank.
What now, fellas? I'm on the news.
It seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
The little boy.
I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here.
Jesus.
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal here, Tony.
Fucking way, Las Bolitas!
Well, we're just trying to get that signal back. I think we... Yes? Tony? Tony, I mean, we're literally away for 2 seconds. How has this happened, Tony? Can you hear me? Well, we seem to have lost our train of thought there a little. Hopefully you, the viewer at home, have managed to glean a broader understanding of the serious and complex issues around law and order. After the break, Megan will be live with some plucky young thespians. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back, everybody. That went well.
Yes.
Mate, I ain't got long and I'm quite drunk. It's been a great night. In this next section, there's a bit of music. If you edit in time with the music, you can see the result on the vision mixer, and the public will love that. Don't worry if you don't, though. You won't get punished for it or nothing. Just try and stay in the groove. Also, one last tip. When the music starts, turn down the broadcast volume. Right, enjoy the music bit. God, I love music. God, I'm so pissed. I think I might go and throw up in a bit.